Yep, it's a different look. I got my Missouri softball garb on. I Some of you may or may not know this, but I played Division One softball at the University of Missouri, and I was actually the first class that switched from AIAW to NCAA. And this weekend, the University of Missouri was at the University of Georgia playing a three-game series, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I went on Friday and Saturday. And I reached out to the coach and asked her if I could speak to the team. And so I did on Saturday. And they gave me hat, sweatshirt, and T-shirt for spending a few minutes with them, which was totally unexpected. But I thought I would, just put it on. No, it is not sweatshirt weather in Georgia right now, but but I will wear this. Um, but it was interesting because when I went into, um, I thought I had 15 minutes. I ended up about 45. Not because I planned it that long, but because they wanted more, and coach said it was okay. But here's the interesting thing. I went in not really knowing. I'm 62 and I'm talking to 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 year olds. And I wanted to talk to them a little bit about kind of the history of where things have come, and where most people don't know the history. If you don't know the history of whatever it is that you do, go find out. It'll be amazing to you, I think. But I didn't want to spend the whole time right on that, and I thought, I don't want to hear some old lady comparing, what was back then to what is now. And it's very different from the perspective of the stadiums they play in and all of those different things. The game is the same. And then I talked to him a little bit about a couple of mindset things. And so here's the interesting thing. Sometimes you don't realize the impact. So when I finished, I walked out of the room and the coach said a few things to him. And I was getting ready to leave when one of the assistants brought me the T-shirt, the sweatshirt, and the visor. And so I was talking to her for a little bit. And you know that every one of those athletes, every single player on the team came out and shook my hand and introduced themselves to me. And then one particular young lady, um, Natalie Touche, has a podcast and asked me if I would be on it to talk about where the sport had come, and all of the to expound on the few minutes that I had spent with them. And I said, sure. And I just got off from doing that with her. And, it's just so interesting how interested she was and they were about what it was like to play in the 80s, as opposed to now. And, it just got me thinking about the impact. And that's why I do what I do, is the impact, right? The impact on my coaching clients, the impact on all of the ripple effect of the people that they touch. Um, but it just really got me thinking about how much we make a difference, whether we know it or not, whether we want to or not. People are watching. And, it was interesting. One of the questions that she asked me was, where do you think the biggest change in the sport is coming? And I said, I believe that the biggest change in all of women's sport is that men are watching, and they're bringing their sons and little boys and their daughters at younger and younger ages. And as I sat in the stands this weekend, as one of the only people with Mizzou garb on, in a sea of red at Georgia, it was interesting to listen and to hear and to talk to people, because if you know anything about me, I've never met a stranger, and I talked to a lot of people. One, how impressed people were that you played intercollegiate athletics, but just the perspective, and the young athletes who were there watching. One young girl would not get up to go to the bathroom or get something to drink. She did not want to miss a second of what was happening. But the impact that you make on a daily basis, um, I think is important. And the other piece I think is really important is to know the history of whatever it is that you do. Where did it come from? And where is it now? And go talk to. Alumni weekend at Mizzou is this weekend, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to go. But I encourage all of the players to sit with somebody from the 70s or 80s who played in that era, and talk to them and have real conversations with them, and get insight into the game and what it was like and all of that. and I hope some of them do. But I was just really honored that this young lady asked me to be on her podcast this morning. We talked a lot about the history, and it just reminded me that, whatever it is that you do, you should know your history and be proud of it. Be proud of. I'm so proud of the legacy piece that I get to leave at Mizzou. No one's ever going to know who I was 50 years from now, 20 years from now at Missouri, but I know the differences, and I know what we went through, and I know the pride that we had, and that I still have, and the fact that I get to watch almost every game on television is an amazing thing. But do you know that about what it is that you do? Do you know what the history is of marketing or law or being a doctor or whatever it is? Go check it out. You will be surprised. And I think go back if you have a chance and talk to some of the legends, some of the people who've been before you, and get a perspective on what it is that you do. If I can help you with your business, reach out. I've got a couple of openings for coaching clients this month, and would love to talk to you about that. I'm Diane Conklin with Complete Marketing Systems and Diane'sDozen.com. And by the way, I talk to the students about Diane's Dozen, the 12 principles that I learned in sports that I apply in business every day. And they're still the exact things that make athletes different than most other people. Until next time, make it a great day. I hope you enjoyed Monday's Minute.